Celtics today. Jaylen Brown status, cast changes and 19th in sight. Speak up, Celtic Nation. Breaking news. We have an update now on Jaylen Brown and a roster change that could turn the race for the 19th banner upside down. If you love this team, stay with me. In a few seconds, I'll show you what changed in the locker room, the detail hidden in the numbers from the last game, and why this could decide our season. Take a deep breath because there is a surprise coming, and the third revelation will catch you off guard. Prepared? Let's do it. Before continuing, if this race for the 19th excites you, hit the like now and subscribe to the channel. This helps YouTube deliver the video to more Celts and motivates me to provide analysis every day. Combined? Click and come with me, because in the next few seconds I'll reveal the tweak that changes the game, and part 3 will surprise you. Let me take you onto the court for a moment. Imagine the clock ticking, the noise of TD Garden rising like a tide, and your breath coming short in the final 10 seconds of a period. It is there, in this microscopic section of the game, that an entire season can tilt towards glory or plummet towards frustration. The Boston Celtics are on their way to greatness, that's undeniable, but the bridge between almost and champions has a simple and merciless name: closing quarters. When I talk about closing the rooms, I am not referring to a vague concept. I'm talking about emotional control, technical execution, and mental constancy. It's the moment when each possession becomes a domino capable of toppling everything that has been built up to that point. And on this board, 4 stones support the castle: turnovers, transition defense, offensive rebounds, and fouls. It is not poetry, it's competitive engineering. If one fails, the others creak. If 2 give in, the cliff appears. I want to talk to you as someone who accompanies, suffers, and vibrates together. Because this team offers us exactly that. A movie script, with scenes in which a relaxed pass changes the atmosphere in the gym, and others in which a well-executed defense rewrites the narrative in a matter of seconds. Boston has experienced both extremes recently. There was a perfect, fluid sequence, which opened up the advantage and calmed the hearts of the fans. And suddenly, a simple mistake lit the opponent's fuse. Within seconds, the symphony turned to noise. The leadership withered. Haste took the place of patience. The fouls piled up, and the game, which seemed under control, called for a break. This is what Joe Mazzulla has been hammering about since the first training session. Closing is a collective verb. It's not just talent. It's not just a play designed on a tablet. It's discipline when the stands are pressing, attention when the mind wants to travel to the next move, courage when a mistake threatens to turn into an avalanche. The Celtics have already learned, on tense nights, that the lost ball in a live zone is not just a detail. It comes as a counterattack, becomes a tray on the other side, and worse, erodes confidence. Add to that a delayed transition defense, an offensive rebound given up by force, and that thoughtless foul in the middle of the court. The scoreboard feels it. The team feels it. The crowd feels it. But here's the other side of that coin: response. In key games, we saw the team regain control when everything seemed to slip through their hands. A three-pointer from the right spot, a smart fold on the ball carrier, a dogged pursuit of the offensive rebound. Small acts of maturity that accumulate competitive capital. And sometimes, redemption comes from where you least expect it. A center coming out of the shadows to finish the play that no one else imagined possible. A role player who turns seconds into eternity with a millimetric floater. The garden explodes, and the lesson remains. It is possible. The path exists, but it requires habit. If you follow the day-to-day, you know that the board made surgical moves even before the curtains opened. It wasn't fireworks. They were decisions that communicated a philosophy. Two-way for those who deserved it for their delivery. Painful cuts to make room, and the door ajar for the G League as a path to real development. Not punishment, development. There is a lot of method in this approach. Sometimes, the name isn't headline-grabbing, but it delivers hours of training, defensive reading, execution without the ball. These are pieces that may not decide a playoff series alone, but that prevent a series from being lost due to a lack of response on the bench. In this puzzle, a beginner attracts attention not because of the flashy highlights, but because of his ability to read the game. Anticipation in the passing line, the right time to help two steps and return, active hands that transform an opponent's possession into two of your points. When a young man demonstrates this instinct, the dilemma arises. Leave him in the main squad, absorbing the rhythm and accepting limited minutes, or give him the key in main so that he can dominate, make mistakes, experiment, mature. This is not a romantic question. It is structural. The appropriate response today. You can set the June ceiling. All of this would be simple if life and sport didn't test consistency at the worst moment. News about physical discomfort inevitably involves the name of one of the group's emotional pillars. The silence from the medical department is prudent, as it should be, but anxiety is growing. There is no crueler script than losing a central piece when the symphony is in tune. And, in this vacuum, the questions that are worth the season appear. Speed up the return and take risks later, or hold back now to guarantee the entire body when the games turn into war. At the same time, the board monitors the market, maps solutions, evaluates profiles that deliver its own creation, scoring volume, versatility to cover tactical holes without dismantling the identity. Meanwhile, Jayson Tatum does what leaders should do, takes the microphone and, at the same time, the responsibility. He talks about being ready and plays as if he knows that, without his attacking partner, the opponent's defensive focus doubles. That means navigating creases, reading help before it comes, releasing the ball a second earlier, trusting that teammates will occupy the correct spaces. Tatum's protagonism in these scenarios is not just measured in points, is measured in severity, how he pulls the defense one way to free the other. Let's go back to the four pillars, because they hold the key to everything. Turnovers. Each one has a cost that goes beyond the waste of ownership. He delivers pace to the opponent. If they become a transition basket, the loss doubles. You lose 2 points and the other side gains confidence. Transition defense. It's not just running backwards. It's about running backwards with organization, shouting combat, protecting the rim first and containing the three-man zone in the drag and shoot. Offensive rebound. It is the second chance that changes the mathematics of the game, the extra brick in building an advantage. Team that collects second chances disarms the opposing morale. Fouls. Breaks in rhythm are not neutral. They often turn the bonus into a fast lane for the other side to score without a clock. When these four elements are adjusted, the Celtics' identity becomes clear. A defense that rotates synchronously, an attack that accepts the extra pass, a bench that arrives and maintains intensity, a rotation that does not suffer sudden drops at the turn of the period. And it is precisely at the turn of the period that things pick up. What is called a clutch for the fourth quarter exists, in miniature, at the end of each quarter. That's where the plus 11 score can turn into plus 5. That's where plus 5 can turn into plus 12 with a sequence of 2 good attacks and 2 good parries. It's an emotional thermometer. I know you on the other side might be thinking, but what about the talent? The roster is deep. The rotation is solid. The numbers are encouraging. I agree. There is plenty of talent. But what turns talent into a trophy is repeating what's right. It is the almost stubborn insistence on performing standards of excellence under pressure. It's looking at an error and rooting it out before it takes root. It's not allowing the turnover to turn into 2, the doubt to turn into confusion, the silly foul to turn into a bonus for the opponent when there are 3 minutes left until the end of the quarter. And there's something even more human in this story. The ability to forgive one's own mistake quickly enough so that it doesn't contaminate the next play. What Xavier Tillman said after an unlikely hero's night is a competitive credo. Make mistakes. Don't feed the mistake. It doesn't turn a rock into an avalanche. Come back, organize your feet, breathe, execute. This is training, it's mentality, it's culture. And culture is built daily, in conversation, in repetition, in the video, in the gesture of the veteran who pulls the young man to the corner and shows with his hand the angle of his body in containment of the baseline. Speaking of culture, the path through the G League is not a detour. It is a parallel avenue that ends in the same square. When a branch coach repeats the same terminologies, demands the same coverages, and puts the same principles on the court, the transition of an athlete from Maine to Boston is no longer a leap in the dark. This gives the cast readiness. In a long season, with travel, wear and tear, and calendar errors, it's not just the gala quintet that maintains regularity, it's the entire work chain. What strikes me most about this version of the Celtics is the explicit admission that how is as important as who. The how closes rooms. The how holds an opponent's run. The how transforms a difficult game into a mature victory. And the how is being pursued. Better spaced plays, more cuts to the back when the defense stretches, use of the short roll to punish bends, variations in rhythm to take the opponent out of comfort, the shorter closeout to protect the shot without opening the door for infiltration. These are tiny technical pins that hold the entire quilt together. Let's address the elephant in the gym: health. No clipboard beats a mistimed injury. Therefore, the news about A-Star's discomfort affects everything: the game plan, the rotation, the collective confidence. Prudence demands that the body be respected. Ambition demands a response in the market. Between these two magnets, common sense finds transition solutions, redistributed minutes, reallocated responsibilities, plays that elevate teammates and reduce predictability. Casio, the great football coach, said that balance is attacking without exposing yourself and defending without giving up the goal. In basketball, balance is attacking without forcing and defending without giving up the first option. Do you know why I insist so much on closing? Because basketball is a sport of rounds, of windows of opportunity. The windows open and close within the same match and throughout a season. A mature cast recognizes the current and paddles with it when it appears, and he resists with technique when she turns against him. It's the antidote to the anxiety of the moment. It is the commitment to the process that, added night after night, becomes a non-negotiable identity. Now, a point I want you to take with you when you turn off this video. Every great champion has moments when the structure is put to the test before the trophy. These are small crises: a bad sequence at the end of a quarter, an injury that messes up the board, a defeat that wasn't in the script. What separates those who lift the cup from those who see it from afar is the response to these mini storms. It's not denying that it rained. It dries faster than the other. It's about resuming the plan, adjusting, insisting on what's right. It's turning a fall into momentum. Therefore, I see this phase of the Celtics as a promising crossroads. Yes, there are points of attention. Yes, the margin for error shrinks when the East tightens. Yes, games are decided in the gray area between technique and nerve. But there are, at the same time, robust signs that the team understands what needs to be fixed. And that is always the first step. When the coach identifies the four pillars, when the leaders echo the message, and when the rotation players live that message on the court, something is being cemented. And what about behind-the-scenes movements? They communicate a goal: competitive sustainability. Reinforce the ends without breaking the core. Test fits without imploding the chemistry. A healthy Brown is a comet crossing the court. Tatum with space is an oil painting. The supporting actors, when they perform, are the soundtrack that enhances the film. The plan is that in those final folds of each quarter, you have 5 players on the court who know exactly where to be, what to deny, when to stop the ball, and when to accelerate. I then come to the point that opens and closes our conversation. Closing the rooms is not a tactical cliché. It is the frame where the game board hangs. Do you want a title? Learn to paint the last minute of each period with the same precision as the first. Do you want longevity? Make offensive rebounding a routine, defensive transition a reflex, taking care of the ball a value, controlling fouls a habit. Do you want confident fans? Show that the advantage of 11 does not turn into 5 due to distraction, that the disadvantage of 4 becomes +3 because the execution sustained the tide. I know that anxiety accompanies every medical bulletin, every market rumor, every training update. It's part of it. But there is serenity when there is a plan. And the plan is in sight. Discipline in the 4 pillars, continuous development, a bench ready to respond, a star with a finely tuned compass, and a coach who repeats the essentials until he becomes flesh and blood of the team. If you've come this far, it's because you want to see the Celtics go beyond almost. Me too. And honestly, the signs make me believe this is a team that is learning its lessons before the final exam. What's next? The same questions as always, answered more precisely. Can they close? Can they turn the single mistake into the last mistake of the night? Can they deny the opponent's run when the stand ignites? Can they, above all, maintain control when everything else calls for haste? I bet so, as long as the practice proves the talk, night after night. And that's what we're going to follow together here. The development of these habits that silently become the difference between being remembered as a great team and being celebrated as a champion team. Buckle up, because every end of the room from now on is worth a chapter in a book. And when the chapters are well written, the ending is usually the size of the talent that is already there in plain sight. And now it's your turn to take the court. If you want to see, play by play, how these four pillars turn ordinary nights into playoff victories, and how each quarter can define the story of this season, it doesn't end here. Click now on the Celtics Analysis playlist and binge the episodes. Tactical dissection, rotation adjustments, matchup reading, strategic behind the scenes, and, of course, the moments when Boston learns to close down. Each video is a chapter of this book we are writing together. Don't leave it for later. Press play on Celtics Analysis, send it to that friend who suffers and cheers with you in the TD garden in your living room, and come with us until June, because if the Celtics want to be at the top, our analysis goes along with it, possession by possession, quarter by quarter, victory by victory.